Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is William Michael Forbes. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach. And I want to welcome you to Shortcuts for Your Soul, which is a series we've decided we're going to continue going forward with. And today's subject is going to be on the concept of multi-dimensional awareness, which is a very fascinating subject because the whole realm of quantum physics has been emerging, and the idea of a multi-level awareness is kind of mind-blowing. We had this wonderful meeting with the Divine Council of Light yesterday, who talked about the value and importance of learning to extend our awareness. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to wait a few minutes for people to come on live. Hi, Giovanna. Good to see you today. We're just going to wait for a few minutes to come on. It's a lot of changes. So today is going to be fascinating, multi-level awareness and what that means and how that impacts our lives, not just as individuals, but as beings, and how we can connect to these other beings that are a question that comes up a lot is, how can Master Jesus be with everybody? How can Metatron or Archangel Michael or Archangel Raphael or any of these beings be in multiple places at the same time? And when you understand the nature of awareness and the expansion and contraction of awareness, you'll understand the elegant simplicity to how it is possible for a being to be in multiple places at a time without any diminishment in their ability to communicate with us. And so we'll, again, wait for people to come on now. Hi, Gina. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Bazalal. Hi, Anna, Manoj, Lysandra. It's been fun to watch how this is evolving. Over the weekend, as you know, Supernatural Saturday did not occur. And one of the reasons that happened is we were reconsolidating with our teams what we want to go forward with. What does humanity require at this time from us? What is needed to move people forward? And they said we were to continue with these shortcuts for your soul. And they're going to be more precise and specific. We're going to be dealing with very, very specific things that humans as individuals and as a collective need to understand in order to move forward in this evolutionary paradigm of ascension consciousness. That's so really cool. And again, I want to thank all my supporters on Patreon and the people that come here and support me with donations. I really appreciate that. I also want to say welcome to the students that will be taking the mediumship course in September. We're looking forward to that. We're going to be taking a bit of a break from the courses and classes. In about 3 weeks' time, we'll be done for the winter and spring season, and we're going to take some time off. But we'll still be running with these shortcuts for the soul, and Supernatural Saturday will continue to go forward with that. I'm trusting everybody can hear me just fine. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Tina. No, there was no Supernatural Saturday. They told us to sit with them, and we did. We actually had a number of communications with the Divine Council of Light and others about what it is we need to do to facilitate a greater expansion in human awareness, which is one of the reasons why we're having this discussion on multidimensional awareness and how is it possible for an archangel or an angel or even somebody like Stephen Hawkins or any individual that leaves the body, leaves the physical dimension of consciousness, how is it possible for them to be able to be in multiple places at the same time with no diminishment in their capability to communicate through an individual? And I've seen instances where people have certain mediums have been channeling Archangel Michael, and somebody else is channeling Archangel Michael at the same time on a different channel. And I look at that, so I was very curious. And what they told us is that when your awareness expands, when you learn how to expand your awareness beyond the identification of the self as being a localized form. So basically, instead of your awareness being trapped in a glass of water, you're able to move your awareness outside of the glass. So you now incorporate the glass. In fact, you can incorporate more than one glass in your awareness as it expands. So they said it's really key that human beings learn to expand their awareness beyond the established identities that they think they have localized themselves to in their physical bodies. And this was fascinating to me. This is true, because many of us are localized to thinking, this is me, this is who I am, these are my thoughts, this is all that I am, but that is not all that you are. And they said this repeatedly to us yesterday. It's important you understand that you are not that body, you are not that mind, but you are responsible for that body and mind and the expression of energy that will go through that one. And there are others that you may assume authority over, and you are expressing through many bodies simultaneously, many lifetimes simultaneously, when you understand it from the perspective of an expanded awareness that is not localized to your physical, one single physical form. And what was really cool is there are actually processes they were talking to us about that you can learn to develop your awareness and expand it beyond your thoughts, and expand it beyond your established emotions, and expand it beyond your personalized history, and expand it beyond this lifetime, and expand it into a future. There's ways of actually developing and cultivating your awareness so that you can actually be that greater self, and the greater self still, and the greater self still. There's these things called mamushkas. It was a little toy, a Russian toy was created. It was like a little wooden, like a bowling pin shaped piece of wood with the painting of a woman on it with her apron on. And you take this top half of it off, and there'd be another one inside. Then you take the top half off, there'd be another one inside. And you go down to get this tiny little mamushka inside. And they were saying expanding your awareness is kind of like that. Your body is like the smallest of the mamushkas. Your body's like the smallest of the mamushkas. And then the next one up will be like the energy, the first level of energy, or your mind, right? This is the second level of the mamushka. Body, emotions, mind, awareness, and then awareness of the energy fields and energy bodies that work out. And it literally is like that. You've heard them talk about peeling back the layers of the onion. Well, as we evolve, we actually add layers to the onion. The onion gets bigger. We incorporate more experience, more awareness into our being as we evolve through time, space, and matter. And they said it was really important to communicate that point, that you don't want to peel the layers off the onion. You want to understand the layers that are within the onion and continue to add to it, so that you continue to expand your awareness to greater levels of capability and creativity. And they emphasized that. They said better levels of creativity, and which is pretty cool. So we're going to get into questions on this concept of multidimensional awareness, and that comes from your developing the ability to actually expand your awareness beyond what you've been conditioned to think you are, beyond what you've been conditioned to believe you are. You're not this body. It's an instrument you use. You're not this mind. It's an instrument you use. You're an awareness, and then you're an awareness beyond that awareness. And they're saying you can't leapfrog. You can't leapfrog over these steps. You can't jump away from being a body to being a mind. You can't jump out of a mind into being awareness. They all are designed to work in harmony, in unison together. It's a full system, from communicating above to below, and from below to above. So it's important to understand and comprehend the meaning, the purpose, and the function of your body, to get it into a state and a condition that represents its highest potential expression as a physical medium for you to work with. And then you cultivate the awareness of your mind, and you develop and cultivate a mind that also has a level of functionality and awareness to it that allows you to function at the highest possible capability through this individualized form. And then to become the awareness that is you, where you can become aware of different points of time and space. And at that point, you can begin to consider and grasp other lifetimes, and be part, or other fractals of your being at other points of time and space, from a perspective of awareness, as opposed to just being limited to this perspective of time and space. So we're going to take some questions on that, on how it is you can begin the process for yourself of engaging, transforming, and transmuting your awareness from being just localized to a physical body, to being the divine awareness that is aware that I am at one with the planet. I am in harmony with the sun. I am in harmony with the galactic, a whole galactic function, a whole galactic consciousness. That I'm in alignment with that. And in awareness, you are. In the truth of your being, you don't have those limits. But you have to establish that truth. You have to establish that truth in this house. In other words, you have to bring the awareness of that knowledge down into this form. So the form now knows, oh, okay, yeah, okay. I'm part of that now. I'm not separate from it. And then the way you'll conduct yourself in this world will be with a greater level of mindfulness, because now you're going to be governing and interacting with people from a perspective of unity, as opposed to from a perspective of separation, right? And having a body doesn't mean you have to be separate from other people, but it means you can have a separate, unique, and distinct function that contributes to the overall effectiveness of the whole. And they gave us some really great examples about how the cells in the body work together independent. And we're going to get into that as we go through this. So let's see how everybody's doing today. I'm so glad that Hi, Bezalel. Thank you for that $5 donation. I appreciate that. Um, I was working on channeling, and the spirit said he was Mohar. Can you illuminate and confirm? Are there others trying to reach me? Yes, as absolutely, there are others trying to reach you. It's interesting you mentioned the name Mohar because I get a really high vibrational white light from this being. That this Mohar is a high vibrational white being, like white light energy. Um, yeah, and it feels like they want to come down through the top down. They're trying to get you to come upwards in consciousness, right? That's why they seem so intense. But there are others that will connect with you in sequence. They're saying in sequence. They will connect with you in sequence. So again, it's like if you go into um, a crowded room with a bunch of people and you want to get to know people, you go up to one person, you talk to them, you get to know a little bit about. You move on to another person, and you move on to another person, and it's like these are your guides and your angels are like that. When you start to connect with them, you start to build a relationship. You literally, it's like building a relationship with another human being. The difference is they're not in a physical form; they're as an energy form, an awareness that you can connect to, and that's an important distinction to make. That form has awareness in it, but there's a level of awareness that you can cultivate that lets you tune into these other beings on these different frequencies. But Mohar is just the first of many that will be coming into the sphere of your awareness as you continue developing and expanding your awareness beyond the finite. Um, uh, yes, the nesting dolls. That's another good term for them, Patricia. So yeah, so understanding that there's these layers of your awareness that you are growing, like the acorn. The oak tree is something that grew from the acorn. The acorn is actually the very heart of the oak tree where it began. And you want to cultivate that awareness. You want to expand your awareness out. And your body is just one little facet of that awareness. So please learn to do that. Let's see questions about multi-level awareness. Hi, Betsy. Um, what does Master Jesus have to say about regarding my relationship with my wife? Any advice, please? Wow. He's saying the first thing he's saying is you must release fear from your heart, dear one. You have too much fear in your heart about this one, and it is your fear that is creating the conditions that you are concerned about. You must restore your faith, but you must also demonstrate your love. Restore your faith in her and demonstrate your love of her. That's essentially what he's giving you, Manoj. Really important. Uh, yeah, cool. Again, if you ask a question here, if it's personal, we come to it. We will answer it. We will not hide our truth from anyone. That is not the nature of expanded consciousness. The nature of expanded consciousness is to incorporate more life, not less life. And truth is life. Love is life. Peace is life. Joy is life. We will give you the truth. Um, so that's thank you. Um, Giovanna, any guidance on ETs? Yeah, there's like wow, the number of ETs that are energetically interacting with a lot of people on this planet is way through the roof, and there's a lot of information and knowledge energetically to raise your vibrational frequency up out of uh, the subjectivity to the fears that are still permeating in this world. There's a lot of fear and uncertainty on the planet because people don't know what's going on. They're just experiencing this change. But there are things that are going on in consciousness, in energy, in spirit that are literally transcending the historical patterns that humanity have been living through for 70,000 years, which is really fascinating. I want to share a little picture with you. One of our uh, one of the beings that came through me several 6 or 8 months ago. His name was Jamal Ipsiaku, and he said 70,000 years ago, humanity had reached a point in its emotional evolution that it got really out of whack. It got very negative and very destructive. And it was 72,000 years ago. They've now measured that the very first magnetic excursion where the Earth's poles flipped happened 72,000 years ago. And that's when Jamal Ipsiku, right around the time when Jamal Ipsiku said that the process for the first magnetic flip or human reset for humanity happened 70,000 years ago. And I find it interesting that there was a 2,000 gap in this photo I'm going to show you. And so there were like 6 or 8 sequences now since human civilization had reached its divine estate. There were seven now significant polar flip events that are all related to the evolution of human emotional consciousness to a point where fear became the dominant state and things had to reset. And we're in the process now of the ascension, where our goal is to not let that happen again, to get the vibration of love so intense that the electromagnetic conditions on the planet and the solar system are affected. We are electrical organisms. Remember that. Anyway, there's this. So those are the 6 primary excursions that all have happened in 12,000 year cycles, right? And the one in Toba is the one that Jamal Ipsiku was referring to as the end of Eden, when Eden came to end, where we left the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden was a highly balanced, evolved social system that got caught up in fear. And again, we found that has happened in significant civilizations, with with Lemuria, with others that have happened, Eden. And now we're at this place where we get to make that choice again. I'm just going to scroll back up. Lots of questions. I'm really grateful for that. Thank you. Good morning, Mahela. Hi, Prem. The other day, I received a channeled message through writing. I heard the one. Could you share? Heard the one. Could you share some insight? Prem, the one. Again, you need to be mindful of the one, because remember, one can say they are the one, but to know the feeling. This is what they're telling me to tell you. It's important you go back to knowing the feeling that you received from that one. For there is one and there are many. It is important to understand which one you are referring to. This ties right in, and this ties into what we're saying about multidimensional awareness. Every cell in your body functions independently. It has its own chore, its own job, its own task. Heart cells, liver cells, brain cells, pancreatic cells, bone cells, marrow cells, ligament cells. All the cells, the blood cells, white blood cells, red blood cells, every single cell in your body functions independent of your awareness right now. Although you're aware your body's functioning, you're not aware of what the cell number 3,467,000 that's now flowing through your right arm to your left index finger. You're not aware of what that cell is doing until you become aware of what that cell is doing and you know how to move your awareness to that specific cell. But there's like 8 trillion cells and molecules operating in this body simultaneously, and they function independently on your behalf all the time. But you need to know which one cell are you dealing with. When you get an ache in the body, there's an area in the body with a group of cells that are interacting, that are sending you a signal to become aware of that thing. So that being that came to you, that communicated with you as the one, we would ask you to take some time to connect with that one again and ask, which one is this? And what is the feeling of this one? Is this the feeling of this one of joy? Is the feeling of this one of uncertainty? You know what you felt, and you know what you wish to understand. So you will know by the quality of your feeling, for if your feeling expands your awareness to a greater state, then you are connecting with a greater one than you are. If the sensation of one that you connect with contracts or shrinks your awareness, then you are connecting to one that is of a lesser expression. And when we say lesser, we do not mean that it is lesser in the sense that it has no value in the creation, for all things have their place in the creation. But understanding from the perspective of your awareness, that this one, if it expands your awareness, then it would be one that would be wise to communicate a relationship with and cultivate a greater awareness of them and expand your awareness. Because this is what the purpose of being is, to learn to expand your awareness beyond the constraints of a single form. You have 7 billion human forms on this planet, and each one constitutes a cell in a greater body of humanity. And these are concepts that are becoming available to humanity now, these understandings that one for all and all for one. And you understand how that principle works in your lives. But please cultivate the vibrational awareness of that relationship. Does it expand your awareness or does it contract your awareness? This is what relationship is in the cosmic process of growth and evolution. The parent's relationship to the child is always greater till the child becomes aware of how they can cultivate and develop their own awareness, and they can then transcend the parent. So relationship whether it is with another human being or a non-physical being of greater awareness, is very important for your evolution as an individual consciousness. Thank you for that question. That was great, Prem. Hi, Tina. Wow. I had a QHC when I was told a woman who had always had a baby on her hip in another past life who swore would not have been a baby during the session. Wow. Again, Tina, that's something, emotion, we are creators of energy, and emotion is our energy. It's the fifth state of energy. We use it to alter time, space, and matter all the time, most people unconsciously. Even a memory, if you do not know how to release the emotional charge from the memory, it will become an influence on your life in the present. Learn to master your emotional energy, because you can change. If you've had a bad experience, you can change the energy connected to that and therefore alter your timeline. So even if you were infertile in a previous lifetime and that's affecting you now, you could potentially be infertile in this lifetime, but not because you are, but because the energy supports that manifestation. The minute you change the emotional energy connected to the biology, you change the chemistry. When you change the chemistry, the biology changes, and emotion alters chemistry in your body. So if it's a matter of infertility, there are many different ways you can alter the biology chemically. Many of you go to doctors and other people to try and get fertilized and things like that. But if you understood the power that you have to alter and control your neurobiochemistry, you would be less likely to find invasive processes and learn to just realign your body and your awareness to that condition that would support the manifestation of what you call fertilization. Cool. Do I still have my guides named Trinity and Trina? Yes and yes. There's one other with them now too. They're still with you, but it's important you understand that your connection must not be to them through what you remember your connection being to them, or you will reboot the energies that are unresolved. We would hope that you would approach them from the perspective of the joy of your being as you've established it to be now. For the time you speak of was in human terms a long time ago, but in this terms, you could bring it back as quickly as if it were yesterday. So we would encourage you to bring them back into the vibration of what you are now and not to the vibration of what you were then. There's a difference. And we can see that it's quite different. Wow. Lorraine, that's a good question. You're welcome, Anaj. Again, I will not get to all the questions. The goal of this Q&A is to empower, inspire, and uplift every day to get this ascension movement gaining some real momentum and steam globally. We want everyone to know that their bodies and minds are not who they are. They're instruments that you express your being through. And the more you begin to understand that reality, the more you can begin to assume authority over it. But most people are still coming out of that reality. This whole COVID thing has put us in a position where we're forced to be with ourselves more. We're less involved in distractions outside. It's been a great opportunity to learn about meditation. Who am I? Where do these thoughts come from? What are these emotions? What is this energy? We've got this great opportunity. So this show will continue to that end, to inspire everybody to connect to that awareness and that energy, that you are the soul that defines what happens in this realm and the expression that comes with it. So yeah, thank you for your questions, because this is not just for you. It's for anybody who's going to watch this afterwards. It's for anybody that's here watching right now, because your questions, your information, and again, we will get to as many as we can. That's our goal, is to get to as many as possible. And we will certainly honor and respect everybody to the best of our abilities. But the goal is to awaken humanity as a collective whole, that we are collectively affecting, altering, and changing time, space, and matter, including the way that the planet electromagnetically operates, right? Master Jesus said, with a grain of mustard seed, a human being, if you compared a human being to the size of a grain of mustard seed relative to, say, the sun or the earth, humanity, each human has the same great potential as that mustard seed. We can affect the cosmos, and we all do it at the same time in different ways. Okay. Who are the tall, white Arcturian type aliens, not Arcturian, that are appearing to myself and Elena? Wow, that's an intense question. They're saying to me, they're saying, why are you wishing to be so attached to the names of what we are? Do not let your certainty be gauged by a label. We would encourage you to cultivate the awareness with us fully without the label. And if you need a label later, you will define it as one that's appropriate to who we truly are and not based on the ones that you remember from others. For we are very unique and distinct from those that you call the Arcturians. And if you wish us to communicate with you, just communicate with us. We will build our relationship. But the labeling must not be applied until you understand the value of the label. For you can expand, contract, or diminish the information we can provide you by the labels you assign to us. For we cannot disrespect or dishonor the limits that you choose to place upon yourself or the information that you receive. So please be mindful of having no limits at this point in time and be completely open to what we will exchange with you. And if you find a label that is suitable to the awareness, which we would hope you would do, then you will find that definition will not be restricted by your label, but be expanded as a result of it. Wow, thank you. So I'll leave you with that, Lorraine and Elena. That's a pretty great question, though. But I do understand what they mean. I hope you do too. When we label things, we literally confine the label, confines the thing energetically to the thing that we've labeled it as. You know, we've labeled this as a glass, and energetically we've created this thing called a glass. That label has manifested energy into the shape and configuration. It can only be this. This glass cannot be anything other than what it is, because that's the concept, the label that's been assigned to that energy construct. So yeah, drop any desire to try and find a way to pigeonhole these beings. Because if you want to get the full measure of what they're trying to give you, don't have a label. Just have communication with them, and you will find a word, an idea, a structure that will represent who they are. That will be, you'll understand that it means who they are, and that's important. You know, it's like if you're looking at your husband and you suddenly think that they're out having an affair, or you're looking at your wife and you think they're out having an affair. You put a label into that system, and then your whole reality becomes filtered by that label. So yeah, please avoid the labels with these beings in the beginning, and until you find that energy that matches them, that defines who they are. Because the communication should be quite interesting, I think. Wow, thank you, Lorraine. Great question. Mihaela, your vocation. Wow. Wow, I'm really glad to hear you'll be taking the 103 again, Drusilla. Thank you for that $2 donation. Yeah, it's pretty amazing what people are learning in the courses and class. We just had somebody who actually met their one of their guides for the very first time, and when you see somebody, it's like literally meeting your family who you've been separated from for a long time. You start connecting to these beings. It's like, wow, I'm just getting goosebumps everywhere now. And these beings are available to every single human soul on this planet. Thank you for that $20 donation, Drusilla. I really appreciate it. Mihaela, is there any message for me regarding my vocation, which I can manifest naturally with joy and which can bring me abundance? It's funny. They said, I don't know who this individual is, but they're like an imp. And an imp is just in my mind, an imp is a very playful and mischievous spirit that has no malicious intent, but just wants to have fun with you. That they've been placing peanuts, breadcrumbs in front of you for you to follow, that constitute the joy that you know you will be in when you're doing your work. Follow the joy, the breadcrumbs of joy. There will be events and people that are going to come into your expression that you will know match that joy that is you. And you will know to move towards those things. And these may be specific trainings or specific teachings or specific individuals that match up with you, because you are not meant to do that which you are here to do on your own. None of you are. Although you may function in the appearance of being independent, you are unified. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Great question. You're welcome, Drusilla. My right ear for show up. Wow. It wasn't just Archangel Gabriel. I get Michael was with Gabriel too. But Gabriel takes a forefront to it. But Archangel Michael was there, like literally right behind Gabriel. And it was this. It was, I know exactly what you're talking about because I've gotten that 3 or 4 times in the last couple of days because they've been really trying to get my attention to pay attention to listening more to them and listening to the P's and Q's of the people around me. You know, one of the beautiful things I have in my significant, my special relationship with my partner Norma is she's got this incredible ability to ask a lot of questions. And when she asks questions, she usually asks questions of them. So we get all this incredible information that we get to connect to our guides and angels in profound ways. So don't be afraid to ask questions and listen for your answers because they'll start coming. So when you start connecting with these beings around you, start asking questions. Ask really good questions because they'll give you the answers. It's fascinating. Thank you, Drusilla. That's such an honor and privilege to be thought of that way. Thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome, Prem. Yes. Again, multidimensional reality, which is what we're talking about. Anytime you connect to one of your guides, your angels, you're connecting to another dimension of reality, right? And it's important to be able to do that for yourself. It's important to be able to do that for others, to literally alter your perceptual reality so you can bring more to life. The greater your awareness, the more you can bring to life, right? To bring life and bring it more abundantly, and it's really true that you want to get your awareness to expand. And as Lorraine was saying earlier, there are beings on dimensions of consciousness that the minute you label them, you restrict the communication. That's like you go into you want to get directions from somebody, but you ask somebody who doesn't have the information. You expect them to know this information, but they're a teller in a bank, and you want to know how to build an automobile. They're not going to be able to tell you. So you want to remove labels and just ask questions open-endedly. These beings, they'll give you information directly. It's simple and it's easy. Yes, I know it was a terrible example. Katie, how do you know you're ready to actively do shadow work? Oh, Katie, that's a great question. I don't know who this is coming in for you, but they're saying to you, you will know this because you are going back and forth in certain areas. And this does not mean negatively, but you are going back and forth, trying to figure things out. You're trying to understand things. We do find what you are calling shadow work usually involves being able to release your old emotional attachments to this life and other lifetimes of consciousness. But that is just simply a matter of establishing your awareness in the frequency of love, and those emotional attachments will diminish over time because they will not be fed by your awareness. The process of shadow work merely gives one the ability and awareness to cultivate their own personal strength over and above the subjectivity of emotional conditions that would normally limit them in the past. Wow, that's cool. And I'm understanding that to mean that, for example, I used to do a lot of again, this is my understanding what personally I think shadow work is, where I used to go back to when I was abused as a child, and I would go through and I'd remember the emotions that were there, and I learned how to release that anger, that fear, that guilt, that shame. I was able to let it out of my biology, let it out of my chemistry, remove it from my present. Or I could go to another lifetime and identify, oh, I was that politician, I was that individual then, and wow, and there was a lot of fear and angst there. That's why I'm afraid of sharp objects, and begin to let go of emotional energies that no longer support the being that is you expanding beyond the confines of those emotional energies. And I hope that makes sense to you. It's really important. Good question, because a lot of people are needing to do that kind of work right now. Oh, hi, Jessica. Thank you for that $10 donation. I really appreciate it. Did I miss a question from you, hon? Wow. Thank you, Gina. I really appreciate that. From Gina, para character stretching his arm forward, raising his thumb up. I think there's a question somewhere that I've missed. Again, I'm getting all of the questions. I just have to go back sometimes. because you guys are just amazing. The number of questions you have to understand, and when you start talking to your guides and angels, even if you're by yourself, they'll listen. If you can learn to sense their energy, in our course we teach you how to feel and know them, because they're, some of you mentioned feeling like there's an ear over your head, or sometimes you get sudden goosebumps, or sometimes you feel a moment of excitement. Your guides and angels will come into your awareness in the way that you can receive it, and they diligently try and do this all the time. But you can only receive what you can hear. If you're tuned to your anger, you're tuned to your guilt, you're tuned to your shame, they can't tune into that as easily. They'll try and get through to it so you can come out of it. But you have to become aware. You want to learn to become aware of more than just what the body's senses sense. You want to become aware of what your energy, your awareness senses. And that takes practice and patience. Seriously, you want to take our courses, they'll just blow your mind. Katie, how do you know you're ready to, oh yes, I think that was addressed. Drusilla, can Jesus tell me if the heat I get all the time is in? He's saying yes, absolutely. The fact that you would ask the question, you knew the answer. He says he understands your need for confirmation, but your faith does not require that need to be satisfied in that fashion. But what I have been hoping to get greater inquiry from you as to what it is we are to do together. If you were to inquire more in that regard, I'd be more than happy to address that. For you are becoming aware of the vibration of the word as a being, the love that is you, the love that is universal. And now you're trying to find ways to articulate and express this love that you feel between us. But it is true that we have this with all. If you can articulate this as an expression, and you do this now through other things that you do, you can take this energy, you can put it into any task, any substance can take on the vibration of the love that you have been cultivating, and you can extend this and offer this up to anybody. Thank you. There's a sidebar. I'm going to have to connect with you after today's live, because there's something very specific you said that I don't think this is the venue to speak it out personally. So I'm not allowing. He's laughing at me. He says I'm being silly, but I don't think I'm being silly. You have free will. Your angels and guides will never assert their will over you. They'll never try to make you be or do a certain way, ever, ever. Lower vibrational entities will try and force you, but higher vibrational entities will never. They'll always allow. Right? That's how you know the difference between a lower vibrational, higher vibrational. Lower vibrational use force. Higher vibrational uses allowing. Right? Very simple way to know the difference of those two different dimensions. Thank you, Jessica. I really appreciate that $10 donation. Betsy, I'm wondering if you and your team of spiritual guides have any tips for me on how to awaken even greater creativity within me. Wow, it's funny you asked that question, and there's just this roar of laughter is the first response they gave to you. Laughter. They're saying you will find your greater release in creativity through the stimulation of your joy. Now, I don't know what that means or how to do that, but that's what they're saying. You'll find greater expression of your creativity through the stimulation of your joy. So I would paraphrase that to mean, Betsy, that whatever is going to give you greater joy is going to give you stimulate your creativity more, right? So that's really fascinating. I like that. Thank you. Great question. Okay, I'm not pair character stretching his arm forward, raising his thumb up. Oh, thank you so much. I'm doing, just so you know, I don't see this as through my cell. I'm doing this on my desktop through Chrome and BeLive. So I don't get these super chats presented the exact same way it is on YouTube. So I have to scroll and be very mindful here. So if I miss something, please forgive me. I'll do the best I can to get to every question, especially the super chats. Again, we're just going through this the best way we can. So Jessica, if you've got a question, please feel free to ask that question. And that was a good question too, Betsy. Janine, do you believe that self-introspective and meditation is more powerful than calling people and extending help in public as much as we could? I still feel that I am not accomplishing much. Thank you. Janine, wow. Janine Frednam, that's a beautiful question. And I get this really overwhelming sense of tears that's connected to joy. that your heart is very big and your desire to serve is great. Um, but they're saying that it's not an either or, dear one. It is not either or in this. It is both. The need for greater understanding, expanded awareness through introspection and meditation is very essential to understanding the unified connectivity that you have with others and what their needs are. The greater your sensitivity to your self awareness and the expansion of that awareness, the greater your awareness of the self awareness of others and what their needs are. From a greater expanded state, you can identify and assess the needs of those others that are seeking the support from these vehicles of public mechanisms that have been created in your social systems, such as mental health, such as the different sciences, such as the doctors, the different mechanisms, the social organizations that take care of the homeless and the needy. These are social organizations that need to have greater awareness of their form and function, a greater understanding of the truth of what the value of meditation and introspection is in the process of personal transformation. And we see you being very essential in the process of bringing that information to these public organizations. And we would strongly recommend that you consider these. These are very feminine beings. I don't know who they are, but their energy is very feminine. I love it. Yes, but they're really stressing that you need to really focus on how meditation and introspective from the perspective of your own personal growth will could be facilitated and being brought into these conventional organizations like the homeless shelters and places like that can benefit from these. And they're saying you have very strong energy to do this work. So, wow, thank you for sharing that with me. And they're saying there are many others here too, as this, that will hear these words, that will be reminded of their purpose. So there are no stupid questions. There are just amazing opportunities as a result of those questions. Um, um, yes, thank you. um, oh, you're welcome, Gina. Lorraine, that's wonderful to hear. Thank you, Lorraine. Uh, yes, you can ask Master G's to help your friends and family, but your friends and family and those you ask your guides and angels to help still must find an opening. And your guides, your angels, remember your friends have guides and angels, and you can talk to your guides and angels and say, tell their guides and angels to find some way to get through to them, please. You know, and they'll do the best they can. You're not responsible if your friend wants to keep their eyes covered or ears covered, right? Sometimes your angels can do some pretty profound things to get your attention, right? Including shattering your foot into 4 separate pieces and teach you that you're a healer. Sorry, I'm just having my own memory of how angels can get our attention. So when you send somebody help, they're going to get it. Make sure you send the help in a way that awakens their love and their joy. That's some of the one things I've learned to do. Send them assistance and guidance that helps awaken their love and their joy, because then they're going to get that energy in a very specific way. But if you say just help them in the best way they can be helped, sometimes the best way might not be the best way for them. It'll be the best way overall, but it might not be the best way. But in the overall scheme of things, it's always the best way. Just not sometimes from subjective perspective. Hi, Louise. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad that answer moved you. Yes, asking questions and learning to ask the right questions. Humans get so caught up in being the body is the self. This is who I am. This body is a temporary manifestation of molecular constitution of consciousness. As I am evolving and transforming and transmuting my awareness from this finite state, the need for this form changes. It ages because it no longer requires the same. I no longer require the same level of learning that this form can provide, and so eventually this form ceases to exist. And this is true for every form. It goes through its process of learning, integration, and growth, and the awareness, when it is done, moves on. And you are the awareness. You have to understand that the body is not the identity of who you are. It is merely the vehicle of expression and reception that you're using while you're in this dimension. Wow, thank you, everybody. The questions are just amazing. And I know that it's just going to keep getting better and better every day. Katie, Jessica, good vibes. Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that. Um, can you touch on the starting an animal liberation or, oh, this is, I'm presuming you meaning an animal liberation organization. That's how they're telling me you mean that. Um, that is a process that's happening. Like moving away from meat-based diets is very, people have no idea how important it is that we move away from meat-based diets in a very, very short time frame. Um, Understand every animal form on this planet, and your body's an animal form, a cow's an animal form, a duck's an animal form, a chicken's an animal form, and all of these forms feel, they experience energy, they experience emotion at the level that they're at. Physical pain is a form of emotion. Physical pain releases chemistry in the body. Physical pain is an electromagnetic, a measurable frequency. They can measure pain in the body now. When the body's in pain, they can measure where it is in the body. So you got an organism like a trillion chickens or a billion cows that are in states of suffering and pain and being ripped apart from their babies and stuff. That emotional energy affects their biology. That energy doesn't just affect what you eat as meat. It's energy that's going out into the environment when it's happening. So these cows are being led and they're brought to this place where they're going to be slaughtered for food. And again, I'm not judging the meat industry. I'm not judging people that eat meat. I'm just talking about a simple principle of electrical energy and interactive energy that happens. When you see people that are excited around you, don't you feel good? When you see people that are sad, depressed, don't you feel concerned? Well, these animals, you feel that for those people because you're feeling the energy that they're radiating out. Your body resonates with that frequency of joy or sadness. Well, these animals, trillions of animals worldwide, not to mention the animals in the seas, give off an electromagnetic signal when they're in pain, as does every living organism. And that electromagnetic signal goes out in concentric spheres and affects time, space, and matter around us. It alters the global electric circuit, just as if you stuck a hot knife in the middle of your finger, your whole energy would go to everything goes to that place. Everything reacts in the body. The whole body reacts to that, right? It's true. Well, it's true if you're taking a species and using a species the way we use it, some animal species, inflicting pain and suffering on them. It doesn't matter how long the pain and suffering. The fact that they emit that suffering and pain has a net effect on the electrical environment overall. We are transmitting and receiving electrical impulses to the solar system, to the galactic center, all throughout creation. And that electrical signal has an influence on the current, the way things move back and forth through time and space. When we've gone through the previous civilizations of Atlantis and Mu and Eden and all these other places where our civilizations got imbalanced energetically, well, we're at that point again where we have a choice. Do we want to continue the imbalance and the fear, the pain, the suffering, or do we want to move into another energy, right? So it's important you understand that concept of animals. You want to work at training yourself and people to move into reverence and respect for these other forms that are on the planet, as if they are our brothers and our sisters. They are living sentient beings at their level, that they don't conceptualize, they don't have the awareness that we have, but they exist and they experience and they emote on the level that they're at. And that energy has a net effect on time, space, and matter. So yeah, it's really moving towards a society that does not need to eat meat-based diets is really important. And I know that the meat industry is working diligently to create what they call pseudo meat, where they're manufacturing meat without having to kill cows. And that's a really noble thing to do, actually, because now the awareness at that level is very different. But it will still have a net effect. Every cell in your body will feel sensation. Yes, I know. Yeah, okay. Yes, the answer is yes. There are things that you can do specifically to assist in the dynamic of this transformation. And you may do so without animosity towards those that have made their living and thrived for many generations at the expense of other species, but not having another way or another understanding is important. Moving into a love-based social economic system is very different than living from a fear-based social economic system. And our goal here is to assist you in doing that, in that transition, is what you call ascension, moving from fear to love. Wow. Oh, thank you so much, Gina. I really appreciate your donation. Yeah, the super chat. If you wanted to support my work other ways, you can go to my YouTube channel, not my YouTube channel, my Patreon channel, where we have exclusive things. We have a monthly draw for a free reading with me. We you get to ask a question every month that's specific to your needs and guides. It's answered personally by my guides and your guides. Plus, we do a monthly private live event for Patreons only that happens on the 7th day of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we have a private event for Patreons. So that's another way you can support. For as little as $5 a month, you can support our work that way too. Chris. Oh, thank you so much, Chris. That's an honor because it's interesting. I'm going to scroll back up. Thank you so much, and to your wife as well. As you begin to understand what the importance of relationship now is reaching a level of value planetarily. And I don't mean just significant relationship with our partners, but the relationship we have with every human being. Walking down the street, like, what are you feeling? What are you thinking? What are you sending out? We have that level of ability now, and not just that. As your awareness expands to other levels of dimensionality awareness, as your awareness expands to be aware of your guides, as your awareness expands to be able to realize that the planet is something that is within your awareness, that the solar system is something within you. There's a level of responsibility, a level of joy, a level of excitation that comes with what is your creative potential. If your awareness is a solar system, what is your creative potential? If your awareness is a galaxy or an entire dimension, what is your creative potential? That's very exciting. But yeah, relationships are very important about stimulating that, because without each other, we don't have that awareness of self-experience that allows us to evolve our awareness to different levels, right? That's why people that are suffering can be really great to help you grow. People that are suffering can be really great to help you grow, because they'll show you where their pain is, and if you understand how to get through that pain yourself, if you've been through it, you can show the people the way too. But we're here to help our brothers. Thank you for that $10 donation, Matthew. I really, really appreciate that. Jessica, any messages from Dad? Oh, wow. Jessica, thank you for that. Those are his words. Thank you for that. I don't know why he's saying this, and again, I'm reluctant, but I'm going to allow this because he's saying this. He's saying, please stop that. Again, I don't know what he refers to. He's saying, please, like, please stop this. It's a yearning. It's a deep yearning of love he has for you to stop. I don't know what it's referring to, but whatever that is, he's saying, please stop this. This is my love trying to guide you still. This is my love trying to guide you. He's saying, you can hear me better without that. You know I am with you. You've always known. You must free your ears of the pain so that you can hear. Wow. So free your ears of the pain. That's very interesting. So whatever it is he's referring to is obviously something that you do to deal with your pain, and whatever that is, release it so that you can be free of the pain. You can actually start to communicate with him yourself directly. It's hard to hear love through the voice of pain, right? Interesting. Thank you, Jessica. Great question. Hi, Matthew. Does Spirit have a message for me, my friend James, who's sitting next to me? Thank you, William and Guide. Wow, for your friend James. Wow, it's funny. I'm getting this silence, but it's a silence that has something within it for your friend. That you need to sit in the silence. You need to sit in the silence and listen. Stop filling that silence with more of your stuff. Sit in the silence. And they're just emphasizing, they're literally showing me this image of this black container, and in this container is just nothing. Just nothing. To be in that. It's interesting. Okay. It's interesting because the Buddha talks about nothingness, no thingness, getting your awareness to that place where you're not bound by matter, time, and space, but be in the silence. Yeah. Yeah. And again, they're using this term, it will be revealed to you. I don't know what it is for you, but they're saying in that silence, it will be revealed to you. So I don't know what that it is, but they're very big on the silence thing. Be in silence. So I hope that addresses whatever message your friend was requiring at this time. Janine, thank you very much, William, and everyone. I don't know how to donate on this, but I will go to the website. Yeah, it's again, you can't. It doesn't work so much through computers unless you're on YouTube Live or on your cell phone live. Then it's usually a dollar symbol that's to the left of the chat box if you want to donate here. But you can also go to my Patreon page and donate there. Thank you so much for that, Janine. I really appreciate it. Chris, my wife. Oh, thank you so much. Question: could I have some clarity on sharing with Christians on the subject of repentance and sin and its resolution in wholeness in one? Wow. Whew. Master Jesus is just jumping in on this one about, wow. This is, he's saying this is a very significant request that you have made, and one that we delight in providing the truth of. Forgiveness, repentance. Wow. Okay, so how do you want to present? They're saying this is not a short question. This is a very involved question that you must understand that the term of forgiveness means not what you do to others, but what you must first do to yourself, to release your anger, your guilt, your shame, to let go from within yourself those things that do not serve you. Only then, when those things are released from you, can you begin to understand that which you are here to give to those that you would see released from their sin. For you cannot give unto others that which you have not given unto yourself first. You must release yourself. You will understand when you release your anger, your pain, your judgment, your guilt, your shame, then you will know what is true to give to another. But you cannot give to another those things that you have in yourself that are not good. You cannot give from fear and expect love to be born. You cannot give from shame and expect hope to evolve. Release from within yourself. Forgive from yourself. Let go from yourself. Those things that no longer serve you. In that release will you know the truth of what you are here to give, which would be love. For love's words are very different than what you know. Mm-hmm. There's there's a book popping in my mind that Master Jesus brought through this woman many years ago called A Course in Miracles. And I get very strongly that would be beneficial for you to understand in the level of detail that Master Jesus says that you need to understand what it is you need to do to establish that process, that paradigm of love as an expression through you. A Course in Miracles will help you to comprehend and understand. He's saying from his language, the meaning of what forgiveness and love and unity is. You will understand it from that, greater than any other thing you will find in this world for you. He's saying that's for you specifically. Cool. Thank you, Bet. Any message for me? Let's see. I just got to scroll through here. Hi, Jade. Thank you for that $10 donation. I really appreciate that. Learned deep depression through family. My life feels so heavy and dreadful. Working on releasing pattern. Any messages? Well, there's great excitement for us in your question for a variety of reasons. For there are many of you that are tethered to your past. Many of you are so diligently holding on to what you are familiar with that you do not know what to do. But we want to assure you that there is nothing wrong with you, that in fact you are simply holding on to things that do not support or sustain that which you know yourself to be, which is what creates the conflict. For you know that this makes no sense that you should suffer, for none of you are here to suffer. None of you came here to suffer. The process of release for you is one of learning first to entrain your awareness to not be attached to the suffering. to release your awareness from that suffering anytime it comes to your awareness. Okay. Depression. I'm gonna paraphrase here. Depression is an attachment to what you remember. Depression is an attachment to the emotions that you still remember from your past. You're stuck in your past present. And we get a lot of people that find that their depression is paralyzing, and it can be because you're so in it. You believe you are it when you're in it. But your depression is not you. It's an emotional energy. It's a chemical energy that your body's now addicted to. Depression produces chemistry. Anxiety produces chemistry. Joy produces chemistry. Fear produces chemistry. If your body gets used to certain chemicals, it can become addicted. Like methamphetamine, which is which will give people an incredible high for a period of time. But after a period of time, the high gets less and less and less. You have to do more and more of the drug, and you have to work harder to get to that state of feeling high, which you can't. Yes. Sorry, I got Archangel Michael coming here too. And we're just about at the end. Okay, just a moment. I want to address this question. So your depression is an attachment. It's an attachment to the memories of the past and the chemicals that those memories reproduce in your body every time you have those memories be brought back up. Learning to be in the present moment, which is something we cover very deeply in our classes and courses. Learning how to keep your present awareness here and now, so that when something from your past is triggered by the environment, or mom or dad calls you and they say this, or your sister calls you and they say that, and you find yourself, you're upset again, oh damn, and you're back in that stuff again. There's processes you can cultivate. Train your mind to be in the present moment, to let things go instantly. Oh, I'm aware that emotion of depression is being triggered by my sister right now. I can take a deep breath. I'm going to release it. And we walk everybody through very simple processes for learning how to actually meditate. And in our Mediumship 102 course, you start off meditating 20 minutes a day from the very beginning of the course to the end of the course. By the end of the 3 weeks, you're meditating for an hour a day. And there's a very highly organized sequential process for each week, so that you learn to master to a greater degree your mind and body. Because your mind is not who you are. Your body's not who you are. Your emotions are not who you are. Your emotions are the energy you create with. And when you're dealing with intense depressive emotions, and that's close to my heart personally, because I was clinically in deep depression for many years, and anxiety. And so my process lets me know that anybody can break out of it, right? Anybody can get away from the medications that they use to try and control their chemistry, because they haven't learned how to control their minds themselves, so they can't control their chemistry. If you can't control your thoughts, you can't control your chemistry. Really simple. When you can control your thoughts, you can control your chemistry. But what most people get lost on is that the chemistry is so intense. The depression, the anger, the fear is so intense that the belief of the intensity is greater than the belief that you are the awareness that can change it. But the minute you start, again, this is as involved as the preceding question on how to change society as a whole. And we can only do it one step at a time. And we've got a very limited period of time every day to do this, but we will come here every day and do this with you until we have this process rolling along globally, so that everybody understands that we are here as a team. All of humanity is here as a team to work together. And there are certain rules that honor, love, and respect the expressions and expansion of life. And there are things that we can do that diminish and restrict the expansion of life. One is preferential over the other. Thank you, Jade. Wow, we are coming to the end, and the timing is perfect. This is the first time we've gotten the questions to the end at the hour. Yes, Lori, you did. And also, there's a lot of fairy beings coming out now. We had a friend who sent us a photo of this green orb. I mean, just this beautiful, bright green orb. It was like a fairy, what they told me they were a fairy royal. Like they headed up a massive movement of fairies. And they literally moved the different pictures of this frame on a gray, cloudy day, so that we know that it wasn't sunlight or lighting flares, because there was no sun. It was in a forest, in trees, with gray sky above, and you could clearly see the green orb moving through. It was fascinating. And there are more of these beings interfacing with us so we can perceive them with our senses. I want to thank everybody for coming on live today, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm so looking forward to it, because this is the ascension when we are all part of it. And again, thank you for your donations, your support. Much love. Look forward to seeing some of you in the classes in September. And we will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Much love, everybody. Bye for now.